Season 48, war number 12, and we're up against X+K9, and this time my team will be White Tiger, Toad, and Werewolf by night. I will be taking Path 6 in Section 1, Path 1 in Section 2, then I will be taking Serpent, Gorr, Warlock, and Bullseye mini-bosses, and finally the Onslaught boss as well, once again using Werewolf. So as I said in the previous war, not a big fan of taking the Bullseyes, but I still had to take this one final one for the season, unfortunately, but we'll see how it goes once we get there. Starting off here we have a Kraven on the spiked armor and computational prowess nodes, and I was considering using Toad here, but then I figured, actually, since this fight has so many buffs on it, I might as well use White Tiger and just abuse the Mystic Dispersion power gain. So essentially, game plan is to just spam special 2s and that's about it. Ideally I wouldn't let this Kraven use any special attacks, but the special 2 is fine, so I will just hold my block, bait heavy attacks if necessary, to make sure he doesn't throw the special 1, since that is the annoying part of his kit with the root and all that. That said, I didn't really need to worry about anything. White Tiger just completely nuked the fight down with 2 special 2s. Did take a tiny bit of chip damage from the spiked armor node, but that's fine. I will be able to heal that all back in the Hulkling fight that's coming up after this one. And here we have a Korg on the aggression prowess and critical setup nodes, and I'm taking the fight with Toad. Now Toad is not exactly the greatest counter to Korg, but being able to do those heavy denials as you see me do there is an excellent way to counter Korg with basically anyone. Essentially, as long as you don't use mediums or contact special attacks while the rock stacks are active, you will not have to worry about Korg's thorns damage at all. So essentially, all that's left, as long as I can deal with the rock stacks properly, is just a slightly tanky skill jump, and then big skill means Toad has access to those very potent passive poisons. Though so far I haven't really been able to utilize them all too much here, since Korg isn't exactly dashing around too much. I just keep him in the corner, made some specials here and there, and some heavy attacks on top of that. So basically just special 1 spam, fight is done in just about a minute. Did take a little bit of chip damage trying to make those heavy attacks, but that's fine. Did not have to take a single point of damage from the thorns. And honestly, at this point I probably should already make a video on the heavy denials, as I have been planning on doing, but I just haven't gotten around to it. Maybe soon, I won't make any promises. Next up we have a Hulkling here on the Never Back Down node, and I will be taking this fight with White Tiger. As said previously, I will plan on stealing all of Hulkling's regen here, so I didn't bother with using any potions. They would be unnecessary and wasted. So as usual, against Hulkling, I just gotta get my first special 2. The bleed debuff from the special 2 will shut down any healing on Hulkling, stealing it for myself. And once the bleed debuff expires, it will nullify all the regen buffs active on the defender, allowing me to just shoot right back up to another special 2 due to Mystic Dispersion. So 2 special 2s here back to back thanks to the Mystic powerback boosts, and the fight is already over with that bleed ticking him down, and I did manage to finish the fight off with a full yellow bar. Hulkling is one of the more fun fights to take with White Tiger, even though he is immune to the power steal. Now next up we have a Black Panther Civil War here on the Buffet over time and Arc Overload nodes, and I'm taking this fight with White Tiger as well. Now since this Black Panther Civil War here is a tactic champion, I do need to make sure I get those tactic prowesses on myself, and to do so I kinda just have to hit his block instead of trying to land any parries. The armor buff from the Arc Overload node does count for his ability to shrug off and reflect any parry stuns, so that is why I didn't go for it at the start of the fight. And now at this point, just some special 2 spam to close out the fight. White Tiger's Nullify immunity makes sure the Buffet overtime node never triggers. And then due to all the armor buffs that Black Panther gets, I was able to just spam the special 2s, abuse Mystic Dispersion, the Power Steal, Mystic Powerback boosts, all of that, and White Tiger just completely melted the fight. Then we have a Serpent here on the event flow knockdown and right back at it miniboss node, and I'm taking this fight with White Tiger as well. I do have the White Magneto pre-fight active here to help me out by allowing me to land those passive stuns even while the right back at it node debuff immunity is active. Now I went ahead and used an invulnerability boost here, just in case this guy gets to a special 3 with his death immunity phase. However, as long as I can keep my tactic prowesses up throughout the fight, those will shut down the ability power rate of any opponent really, so that's not something I should need to worry about. It is just a nice safety net to have. Essentially my game plan is to just spam some special 2s here as usual, preferably with the event flow knockdown protection being disabled by me throwing heavy attacks, as you can see me doing here. All that is left is just managing the aggression prowess node to make sure he doesn't get to stack up too many of those before throwing any specials, because those specials, they hurt a lot through the block and you cannot dex them. So I am taking a ton of cheap damage here, but that's fine as long as I don't die to the fight. As I've said previously, I don't mind using any potions that I might need to use. That said, the next fight after this one is a Gorr, so I will be able to steal some regen on that as well, likely saving on potions that way anyways. Now roughly a minute and a half into the fight, and I'm just about to hit Serpent's cheat death here, and I have the max stack of the tactic prowesses completely shutting down his passive power gain, as you see here. Nothing to worry about, just some of the regeneration, which is annoying, but not really a problem. So once again, go for a heavy knockdown the opponent to remove the protection, then another special 2, and the fight is done. Did take a ton of cheap damage, but as said previously, that's not really my main concern here. And yep, next up, that usual Gorr there should allow me to heal back up for free anyways. So here we have a Gorr on the make a stand and one eye open miniboss node, and I do something slightly riskier I guess here. Usually I use an advanced power boost for this fight, but I went ahead with the invulnerability boost from the previous fight still active. That means it will take me longer to get to my own special 2, however as long as I play this fight safe and slow, it should be fine. That said, the advanced power boost is definitely the way to go, due to the fact that I have a slightly easier time just, well, spamming specials than I have trying to dance around and trying to bait Gorr specials. That said, I could also have done some special ones here to stack up the Furies early with some power steal, but I didn't. I figured that as long as I can just not be dumb and get hit, I should be able to just climb up the special 2, and now at this point just keep cycling them over and over. Gorr went ahead and threw his special 2 here, which still hurts quite a lot through the block, but the ability to purify damaging debuffs just shuts that down completely, and then any of the health steal from my bleeds will keep me topped up, or at least try to. The health steal in this fight is really struggling to keep up, but the lower Gorr gets, the stronger his regen gets, and the more I will steal. Though at this point I have already hit the cap on the regeneration per tick, which is a little bit over 3000 on an ascended White Tiger. The fight went down, though it wasn't as clean or quick as some of the other fights have been, but even then it wasn't all that scary after all, though I did drop down quite low a few times due to those massive special 2s. And then we have another Adam Warlock here on the power efficiency and missing in action miniboss node, and I'm taking the fight with White Tiger. Now as usual, game plan is to just get the White Magneto pre-fight on to make sure I can land my parry stunts always, and then the invulnerability boost on and just push into a special 3. If he uses any other specials, that's great. If he doesn't, I'll just eat the special 3 with the invulnerability boost on and deal with it that way. Now he went ahead and threw a special 2 there, which is the one that I don't really want him to use at all, due to the fact that the pod can become somewhat of a problem if he just keeps spamming specials. There is still a bug that allows Adam Warlock to use specials while the pod is still active, and on the power efficiency node, or any of them, he can get into a cycle where he just spams specials over and over again while the pod is active, and there's not much you can really do about it. So it is scary, though this time around he didn't do that, which was very nice of him, and I do hope the bug gets fixed. At least I believe it's still a thing. I haven't seen it for myself in a while, but I have heard that it's still happening. Either way, next up we have a Bullseye here, once again on this Stunning Reflection and Polka Power Miniboss node, and I'm taking the fight with Toad. Now this is the last war of the season, I don't want to mess this up, and this time I actually landed my special one for once, instead of whiffing it for absolutely no reason. So far, so good. As long as I can keep this up, I should be able to solo this guy. It's not even a 7-star, so I don't have any excuses here by punching up or anything like that. So yeah, I mean honestly at this point I'm just out of excuses. I just suck, and that's all there is to it. So far I am winning the health race. It's been a minute. I throw my special one, and it crits on the last hit, completely destroying Bullseye's remaining health. And I did get a decent solo on him to end the season, so at least that's nice, though it doesn't make up for all the deaths that I have had against him. And now we have the final fight of this war and this whole season, which is an Onslaught boss that I will be taking with Werewolf by night. I did go ahead and put on my Mystic Powerback boosts in the meantime there, though they are really not necessary here. I just wanted to play the fight safe and not take any risk of dying to some easy fight after soloing the annoying Bullseye, so that's what I did. All it really means is I'm gonna have to use a little bit more loyalty to buy the boosts back, but that's perfectly fine. So essentially the game plan against any Onslaught boss with Werewolf is to just hit the block, howl whenever it's, well, available, and then just spam special 2s. The only time I'm, well, planning on hitting him directly is whenever I have the special 2 ready, and either I have the curse active, or I'm about to hit my own special 3. Then all that's really left is just wait out, or rather bait out a special 1 from Onslaught whenever he gets it, dex it, and then it's just back to howling, hitting the block with mediums, howling, hitting the block with mediums, and just dancing around in the meantime. As you can see, he is melting pretty quickly, and a single special 2 has left him with roughly 60% health now, a few seconds later, and I gotta say, Werewolf as a 7-star champion is amazing. He can do so many things, just too bad that the reparry issue is still a thing. Hopefully that gets fixed soon enough. Either way, at this point I got a second special 2 in, Onslaught is dropping to roughly 30%, so all that is left is to just get to one more special 2, and the fight should be done. However, at this point I have made a slight mistake and I have gotten myself cornered, which was not intended, so I am having to throw some direct hits here and there to push him back a bit, so I wouldn't have to be in the corner trying to dance around any heavy attacks or any of that. That would be close to a death sentence against this guy, so gotta be very careful here to close out the fight, which I managed to do luckily. Overall, the fight is very easy to do. I just messed it up and allowed him to push me back too far. I should have just taken some direct hits earlier to make sure I keep him closer to his own corner, but either way, that was the final fight of this season, and yeah, it has been a horrible one. As for the results, we did end up winning the war 10-5, which ended up with us somewhere in the top 10 of Masters. As for my personal season stats, I had 100 attacker kills and 5 deaths, which is a decent amount of kills, but my deaths just overshadow it completely and I played horrible. Either way, I'm not gonna be sitting here yapping any longer than needed. I'm gonna just get the Season 49 war started and ready to go, so I don't get backlogged as I did this time around. Or at least that's the plan, but once again, no promises.